What a bloodbath, right? We are looking at Bitcoin 24K and we have clearly broken out of this long-term sideways trading range, the 64 to 29K trading range where we have been in approximately for 1.5 years. Now, where is the bottom here? Some people say the bottom might be somewhere around the top of 2017, right? When we had the large rally here, maybe we could bottom just after dropping another 20% or so. But I'm not really sure how strong this really is, how strong the support here is, because when we look at Ethereum has already fallen below the top in 2017, 2018. So really, we have to look at different models here. We have to zoom out further. One way to do this is to look at the 200-week moving average, right? Historically, this was a pretty good support. Currently, that moving average is at 22.3K. So these charts are from lookintobitcoin.com. The link is in the video description. They only update once a day, right? So we're still seeing here 26.6K, but we are already at 24. Just another 10% down here. And we have something that historically worked pretty well as a support. We very shortly went below that, but over the very long term, we usually just hover above this 200-week moving average, right? So 22K, 22.2K is the bottom according to this model here. The logarithmic growth curves or the logarithmic regressions, they're not that obvious of a model because you can fit this actually in different ways. So this is one fitting where we are already below the lower band, right? If only come during the Corona crash below this was by around a third. So the lower band was at 7,500, but the price went all the way down to 5K. So 1/3 below this. Currently, the lower band is at 26.7K. So 26.7 and a third below this would put the bottom at 17.6K. Now, another way to do that regression is by ignoring those large outliers. Then we get to the Bitcoin rainbow chart. And here we are now entering the second lowest of those bands. So the very bottom over here is at 14.9K. Not saying that we're going to reach this, right? But historically, we have been in these kinds of ranges. The Corona crash went all the way down to this lower band. Now, let's move away from Bitcoin and Ethereum and let's rather look at what the altcoins are doing. So this is total 3 minus the stablecoin market caps. So we are looking here at the cryptocurrency market cap minus Bitcoin's market cap minus Ethereum's market cap and also minus Tether's market cap, USDC's market cap and DAI's market cap. So we are looking pretty much at the risky altcoin market cap. And this is so far how much we have fallen. We are looking at a drop of 78%. And we can look at total 3 also in relative valuation, right? How is the cryptocurrency market cap minus Bitcoin and Ethereum doing relative to Bitcoin and to Ethereum? So this is total 3 divided by Bitcoin. So the line we see over here is equal to 1. So the altcoin market is exactly as valuable as the Bitcoin market. Here we've got 0.5. So the altcoin market has half the size of Bitcoin's market, and we tend to trade somewhat in a range, right? It's still impressive actually how expensive the altcoin market still is given its major drop. The peak where we had been here at 1.15 or 1.18 roughly, so where the altcoin market cap was 18% larger than Bitcoin's market cap, that was during the mania phase, during the bubble at the end of 2017. So it's quite surprising that during this whole crash, when people tend to rather get out of risk, that Bitcoin yet hasn't outperformed that much. Now with total 3 versus Ethereum, we can see the following picture. Again, the altcoins perform relatively well, but this is of course because Ethereum is having a pretty hard time. Ethereum is really falling. The move to proof of stake is getting doubted to a certain degree. And so Ethereum isn't really outperforming, right? Ethereum also has a pretty hard time to actually grow as quickly as the rest of the altcoins altcoin market simply because of its size. If you are investing in a small altcoin, you tend to outperform, right? You've got more leverage, more inherent leverage. So this doesn't surprise me as much. Bitcoin relative to Ethereum, of course, is further increasing. So Bitcoin is now roughly 20 times the price of Ethereum. Now here's a chart you might not have seen, at least if you don't follow this channel regularly, and this is the Stablecoin Dominance. So when we look at stablecoins, we can look at how much of all of crypto in terms of market cap is deposited in stablecoins, which gives us some kind of a gauge of how much risk aversion is currently in the market. And of course, over the very long term, we see an increase over here, right? More and more DeFi gets adopted. People now trade in and out of alts more regularly. But the waves that we can see over here, right? The waves, they are definitely related to the rather short-term price action. So when we zoom in over here, right? When we look, for example, here at the 19th of July, where we had this temporary peak in Bitcoin, or let's say in Stablecoin Dominance. When we look at Ethereum during that time, the 19th of July, it had a low. Or when we look at Bitcoin at the time, also 20th of July had a low over here. So there's a direct inverse correlation here. When a lot of money is in stablecoins, the risky assets, they tend to be quite low, relatively speaking. And this is what we currently see, right? We are very, very high on the stablecoin dominance. And nobody knows if this can actually break out and even go to more extreme levels, or if risk appetite will increase again, right? Maybe the prices are now that low that some people that are willing to take those massive risks, they're willing to catch that falling knife, turning this around. But right now, in this moment, this is not the case, right? We have never been that high on stablecoin dominance. We're now at 14% of all of crypto being locked up in stables. And so where does this leave us? Well, overall, right, we are comparatively cheap on many different metrics, on the realized value, on the realized hodl ratio, so how active is currently the market. We are low on a lot of those different models. We've already looked at the regression. So if the time horizon is long enough, it does make sense to buy such a dip. But on the other hand, we can still drop further. So when we look at the final capitulation after the crypto winter, right, in 2018, the realized value was at around 4,600 and we dropped approximately 25% below this. So with the current realized price being 23.4K, the bottom here would be at 17.5K. So different models give us different kinds of bottoms for Bitcoin. It's hard to time the bottom perfectly. It's even harder to say that we are even dropping further from here. The overall momentum is bearish, but the stablecoin dominance is high. So it's very hard to say when exactly we are going to turn around. But it's relatively easy to say that if we buy now, right? If you buy now something that you're long-term bullish on, if you now buy Bitcoin and you hold it maybe over the next 2, 3, or 4 years, if the overall macro environment won't get incredibly bad, if it stays somewhat intact, if our financial system stays somewhat intact, etc., if stocks continue to go up and interest rates won't be risen to extreme levels, then I do think buying Bitcoin now at 24K will pay off over the long term. Over the short term, though, the momentum currently is not on our side. And there is still leverage in the system, right? People have borrowed to buy Bitcoin, not necessarily using traditional finance instruments, but definitely within DeFi. So further liquidations are coming in case we go lower here. That would add more sell pressure. So short term, things are dangerous. But long term, if you can hold on for long enough and if you buy the right assets, I think these are times to rather buy than to sell. If you haven't yet subscribed, feel free to do so because I do publish videos regularly. And a like would be appreciated as well, of course. If you're interested in exclusive content or in reaching out to me directly, feel free to check out the premium membership. That's to be seen at thebitcoinstrategy.com. The link is in the video description. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye-bye.